Today, Precarious plays
Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. I don't know if I agree with Adam's cynicism in this line. I think that they might still be operating at a scale where people can keep their promises. Because I think that he might be thinking of like a national scale.
Yeah.
Where, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It is so often just someone playing a political game to keep their seat in the next election, you know? I think I'm going to go with this one because it's a fairly complex opinion.
Yeah.
I can't remember the style of argument, but even if it cedes ground, it asks a question.
Yeah.
I admit he's got a way about him. He talks and people listen. But is that enough?
He is no politician, if that is what you mean. Rucker gave up an easy life for our cause. He lives the struggle, just like the rest of us.
I respect anyone with principles. But in my experience, that doesn't get you much when the storm comes down.
Well, as much as a political debate stimulates me, you are pushing my patience, and I have work to do. You have had your warning. Get out of here, while you still can.
If that was your recruitment speech, I gotta tell you, it sucked. The way I see it, after the bombing, tide's turning against you. ARC has made itself public enemy number one.
Yes, it may seem that way. For now. Until then, Sergei. Be careful in there, Shiny. Huh? Nasty rumors of a wrench getting scratches on his finish will scare the tourists away. Yes. We'll be seeing you.
It's curious how it seems like they're switching between pre-rendered and...
Chicane, patch me through to Miller.
Give him a message. Patch you through. What am I, your fucking secretary now?
Jensen, I thought you were back on track.
I am. But I need you to run a name through iLink. Viktor Marchenko. Got a feeling about this guy.
Fine. But remember, you're there for Rucker. If he's behind these attacks, everyone else will fall in line.
It was curious that they were switching between pre-rendered and in-engine graphics there.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I wonder what they could achieve with the pre-rendered stuff that they couldn't do. Maybe like pulling that up over his shoulder would have been difficult with whatever in-game modeling rigs they had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep the camera a little steadier. Is it helping at all? Because you were at one point you were like, I'm gonna barf.
I can't tell. It really hit me like a couple episodes ago when you were looking at those fans and you were like, are these symmetrical? And I was like, pork. I was like, noise.
The last time I think you got motion sick while we were playing a game, it's when I showed you, I was like, hey, I want to play Doom.
Oh, man.
On the show. And I don't mean like the more recent one, I mean Doom. The original.
Olden Doom.
Yeah, and it's just you glide around. I thought that it would be okay because you glide around so smoothly, but I guess that it was just too fast.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I felt it and it felt bad.
Okay, what am I doing here? Holding it? That's curious to me that tapping goes from point to point and holding makes you go around the corner. Now that's a little curious. Not silly.
What, the wood?
No, Jensen took his overcoat off, and I'm sure he'll have it back later, though. You know?
Yeah.
Because he even had it as recently as the cutscene. And I mean, like, this... They did this in the first game, too, where this lets you know that, like, you are now in one of the action stages.
Oh, mm-hmm.
You are no longer...
You're no longer pretending to be normal.
Well, yeah, I guess it's sort of like covert civilian action and then whatever military stuff you do.
Yeah.
Like that's the distinction is the code visually. That is no longer necessary. Okay. You know, none of this is a Lagombi.
No. Oh, man.
That's
You know
almost
what?
Definitely got a.
You know how much you like Lagombi?
How much? You tell me. How much do you think I like Lagombi?
You like Lagombi so much that I think it's it's one of 2 monsters that I can identify on sight after not playing hardly any of the games.
Anomaly detected.
And all of the monsters from Monster Hunter have delightful names,
Access granted.
but they're all like crazy and they never make sense. Like, I know what Lagombi looks like, and I know what Baroth looks like. I can picture them in my head. And why is this? Well, because I like Baroth. Baroth does not look like their name should be Baroth. Honestly, Lagombi looks much more like a Baroth than a Baroth does.
You know what makes me mad?
What?
There's another monster. Well, okay, I don't want to give you the specifics because if I do, it will probably ruin your ability to remember Baroth's name. There is another monster with a remarkably similar name.
Don't tell me. Please don't.
I'm going to describe to you what it is, but I'm not going to tell you its name because it will
Okay.
just confuse the situation.
Okay.
It's a, basically it's like a saber-toothed tiger, but Monster Hunter-ified.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why did they do that?
Yeah. I don't think that the names... You know what? I don't think that they need to make sense because I think it's part of the joy of being in that universe. I find it fun in the meat space to learn the weird names of plants and animals that nobody actually uses because it's neat. Well, ooh.
Excuse you.
Just had a malfunction of some kind. Maybe I'm still a little nauseous. That was distracting. Oh, yeah. I don't want to begrudge the goofy names of Monster Hunter. I think it's a big part of it, and I think that if you manage to wrap your brain around and stick to all of the goofy names, that's just like one more way to show affection for the game and the universe, and I think that that's lovely. I think that's fine. But they're stupid. They're really stupid. They were not made...
I agree with, yeah.
They were not made for remembering, okay?
As much as I've played the series, there are tons of monsters that I can, like, define how they function in combat.
Yeah.
But I could not tell you their name off of the top of my head.
Yeah.
Especially, like, the ones that are hyphenated, like, Kuluyaku and...
Kuropeko.
No, Koropeko isn't hyphenated. I don't think.
It's not? Okay, Kulu Yaku.
Like
and...
there are a collection of them where it's like Yuan Gar is either Garuda or Garuga. I've fought dozens of them collectively, and it's a swamp. It's a swamp of memory. I can remember most of like the big dramatic, more dragon or wyvern-y shaped ones much more easily.
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna get Lagiacrus confused with any other monster. I'm not gonna be like, well, which one's Rathalos? That's not a problem.
I think I could probably pick Rathalos out of a crowd.
The problem is that it's the low and intermediate monsters that just don't leave the same impression, you know?
I wonder, like, you know what the situation demands, right?
What?
Goofy common names. Like, because if you think about it, those harder to remember useless names that don't seem to have anything to do with anything,
Yeah.
those feel much more like scientific names, right?
Yeah, yes.
And, like, I can't remember... I don't have a good pair on hand. Okay, this is not a good example. But, like, for example, you have your Latin name, but then everybody goes around calling it,
Do you know the...
Dutchman's breeches and stuff like that.
I was gonna say,
feverfew or...
do you know the monarch butterfly off of the top of your head? Do you happen to know that one? Or any bug, really?
Well, I know that butterflies in general are Lepidoptera,
There you go.
but people call them butterflies, and that's stupid. But Lepidoptera is just as stupid because it has something to do with wings and, well, I don't know what the lepid comes from, but I think the Ptera, the ptera, are wings? And maybe it's a number of wings? I can't remember. There are lots of patera names. Man, I should have been the nerd that learned Latin.
Somebody on the dev team must like this water texture as much as I do. Because this is
Yeah.
not the first time they found ways to include this water texture in a cyberpunk, glossy, Victorian, black and gold architecture
Metalscape.
fest. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, we're gonna have a game that's mostly made out of PVC, concrete, and aluminum, of carbon fiber, and then somebody's like, but water textures.
No, I like it. And it's also, the color is so much closer to soothing than like, look at this garbage. Ugh. They were like, we need to give them a visual break. How about we take them to a spa?
Adam. Okay, I can't cling to this one. Sometimes this game is wildly inconsistent with its cover because Adam jumped all the way over there rather than hopping on this one. And that's a little unfortunate because I'm sure it's because the developers are aware that there's not going to be a danger right here.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of very briefly takes me out of the experience because I don't know that.
Oh, I just thought of a better pair than the butterfly thing.
Yeah.
This is also another family. Is it a family? It doesn't matter. There's a large grouping of insects. They're called lace bugs. There are lots of different kinds of lace bugs.
Yeah.
But they're Apicista? And oh, that's spelled so wrong too for how you pronounce it. But they're called lace bugs. Like, what does that have to do with anything? And thankfully, the lace bugs, they look kind of lacy, I guess. But
Got it. I can handle it. I can do it. Aha. There we go. Clean. But I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter stories too. Recently.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I find myself thinking like, that's not a Lagombi.
Yeah.
That's not something I'm interested in right now. But this I actually am.
What?
Because this is a cool
Ooh.
place. It's like a seam between
Like two stacks.
Yeah, like two residential blocks, one assumes.
Oh. Look at all those really sketchy cables.
Owing to the slanderous and inflammatory insinuations and outright lies being put forth by the media.
I wish that this was subtitled. I think that Talos Rucker might be what's the term? Proselytizing? Proselytizing?
Proselytizing? Does that sound right?
Preaching the good word.
Speechifying.
Yeah.
He's upper speechifying.
I think that he might be talking right now and I can't make out what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, he's probably saying something fairly sensible that'll get him killed.
Hey! Stop being such a dick.
You know, you should treat people
Or
good.
here's a more sensible one that probably carries a little more weight, where it's like, the things that happen to us could also happen to you, dumbass.
Yeah.
While some of us, sure, we were just born missing a leg, many of us that happened after we'd been in the world for a while. So maybe wise up and acknowledge that just because you have all of your bits today, you might not have all of your bits tomorrow. Oh. Although I guess they probably... Do you think it's still possible to get new augments for most people anymore?
I don't know. Probably.
You probably have to be
Probably.
really rich.
Yeah. Most people probably not.
And those people, like the David Seraphs of the world, they probably didn't have the same problems with their augs to begin with.
Yeah.